It was a very dark period for me. And you know what? I didn't care about her. I stopped breastfeeding her. I was mentally, emotionally, physically stressed to the point where I wasn't even lactating anymore. It's my baby. So if I want to carry her and even put her back through my vagina into my tummy, it's my baby. Like, even the baby you just gave birth to, you're like, you just came to disturb my life. Your wife is not your mother.
Like, I can handle everything.
You are not strong. You cannot handle anything.
Yes.
Learn
to be soft. Hello and welcome. It's the E.B.U.N show, and today we're discussing postpartum depression. Babies are a bundle of joy, and most women look forward to when they will have theirs in their hands, and they will do anything to get that experience. We do everything in preparation for it and expect the love at first sight kind of feeling that we've seen on TV, heard, or read about. Alas, the baby comes, and for some, it doesn't exactly feel that way. For someone like me, I saw my baby and I didn't feel a thing. I wasn't excited, neither was I sad. I wasn't even sure if I loved her or I wanted to hold her at that moment. But you mustn't say. The word expects you to say, I feel it was the most beautiful thing in the world. But it wasn't. And hey, I doubt if I'm the only one in the world who feels that way. And so this episode is dedicated to every woman in the world who was hit with the reality of childbirth. Not the picture perfect one. I'm talking about the overwhelming one with a spiral of emotions that followed. And we're even going deeper. We're talking postpartum depression. And on the show today, I have Emem Okwoche. She is an award-winning broadcast journalist with over 7 years of experience. She is a media and PR strategist and event host, a civic education and human rights advocate. And of course, she co-owns Rewired Africa Network. She is married to a renowned broadcaster, the Mike Okwoche, my brother, so I'm an in-law. And she is currently earning a certificate in human rights advocacy from Harvard University. You would enjoy this episode, and I'm sure you can relate to every bit of it, so don't go nowhere. Yes, good to have you on the show.
Good to be here.
Postpartum depression, it's like it's an Oyibo thing, no? It's not our thing. We African women, we are very strong. We can chest anything, like we can handle it. It's not really our thing, right?
Well, I would agree with you when you say it's an Oyibo thing, because we are evolving, in a space where people are given opportunities, or people are given that, whether it is a platform, or yes, I'll call it platform, to vent, to share as well. And that's why I see a lot of women, coming out and telling their stories, and then a lot of women can also learn from it. So postpartum is not anything to be ashamed of. It's not everything to be judged for, because I have been in a space where some women are being judged for not wanting to be with their children. Or for their newborns at the time of, at the time where they're dealing with so much. And I tell people, do not judge any woman who's going through that. Instead, support her. It's very unfortunate that let me share something that happened with me, that's happened with me a few times. I've had colleagues whose wives are pregnant at certain times, and I tell them that, you know what? These are the things that you need to do, because I've realized that a lot of men do not understand what to do. They do not know what to do. They do not know the kind of role to play when a newborn comes in, when their wives give birth. They don't know how to help the situation. And first of all, what I tell them is, make it a point of duty to establish that emotional connection with your wife.
Yes.
do not put her under any sort of pressure. Do not expect her to be, to still be, to still, carry on her responsibilities as a wife. Because at that time, to be honest, you are not that important, and it's the truth. You are not important. And I hear some men blatantly say, you are not the first. My mother also gave birth to 7 or 10 or 100 children. Your wife is not your mother.
Exactly.
That's what you need to know, first of all. And then the times have changed.
You see, a woman just has 3 months to get back to work.
So times have changed. Whether she has just limited time to be home, as a man or as a husband, try as much as possible to be there for your wife in any way that you can help. Okay, let me share my experience. I remember when I had my first child. So first of all, I need to make it very clear that a lot of women really do not even know when they're going through postpartum depression.
So maybe we should
establish what it is.
It sounds like a foreign thing when we say postpartum depression, like God forbid. And we're very religious people, like God forbid. But it is what I experienced it.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
This feeling of sadness, lack of interest, no excitement, like you are not happy about anything. Nothing interests you. Even the baby you just gave birth to, you're like, you just came to disturb my life. You can't see any bright light around. Everything just appears gloomy, like it's the end of the world. Amazingly, mine didn't. The first time I experienced it with my first daughter, it wasn't as serious as the second.
Okay.
Amazingly, it wasn't even after I gave birth. It was while I was pregnant.
You were pregnant.
Oh, it was as bad as me telling my husband I was done. I was ready to go. When I reminded him recently, he didn't know how serious it was. I was telling him that really at that point, I felt I was done. So, if you're feeling that, that's simply postpartum depression.
So I think the way that you have described it is the best way to put it for anyone watching, and so that they can understand what it is. Because the first things first is to understand what it is that you are going through.
Exactly.
That's the first line of action. Acknowledge it.
Acknowledge. Do not deny it.
Do not deny it. Do not say, I think I'll get out of it. Acknowledge that, yes, this is the phase that you're going through. And then if there is anyone around you that you think would understand, it doesn't have to be your husband. And you know what? It is fine if your husband doesn't understand.
Because he's a man.
Because
he's not
exactly.
There.
So he will never understand, to be honest. And in all fairness, it's okay. So if you share it with him and he doesn't understand, you move on. Try and find someone that you can share it with. If not, you are going to be projecting to that baby. And at that time, the baby does not deserve the
kind of treatment.
Exactly. It's not fair. I know that as a mother, you're dealing with so much, but if you have to give the baby to your mother-in-law, your sister, anyone that you can trust.
In East Africa.
To cater to. Well, you say yes, it is in East Africa, but you have to. So because this is something that happened with me. Because I know that these things happen. Before I gave birth to my first LC, I already told my husband to please inform his mom that I need somebody from the village to help. That's one. And I got another person, an older nanny, to come stay with me. Yes, she was a family friend, but she was someone that I knew I could trust
with your baby.
So I told her, she wasn't working at the time, so I told her, you know what, I would like to pay you a salary. If you can afford it, not everyone can, but if you can, it won't be a bad idea to make sure that you employ every support you can get. If you have
it doesn't even have to be paid.
It doesn't have to be paid. But
family and friends that you trust. This idea of I'm a strong woman.
You are not a strong woman.
Like I can handle everything.
You are not strong. You cannot handle anything.
Yes. Learn to be soft.
Exactly. Do not let your husband, pressure you into, yes, you are the first, as far as nobody else can give birth to the child that you have given birth to except you. So first things first, understand it, acknowledge it, and then seek help. If you have to seek professional help, if you can afford to, why not? If you cannot afford that, speak to people around you.
So in your case, you had a girl from the village.
Yes, so I had people around me,
Mm-hmm.
and then my mother-in-law was also around. And you know what was most amazing about it was, with Elsie, because it was my first, I didn't want to share her with anyone. Yes, I was very protective of her. So even when people would come and say, okay, can I hold her? I'm like, no, I really want to be with her. So I want, and I expected people to respect that. But people didn't respect it because they thought that, oh, Emem, you need to rest.
I cried on that matter. Like, my mom carries the baby from my mom to my husband's mom. I'm like, it's my baby.
Yeah, you understand. So they do not understand that you also need that time to be with your baby because they expect that, oh, you should rest. Whatever time you have, you need to rest. I'm like, I don't want to rest. I just want to be with my baby because it's my baby. Do you understand? And even so, at some point, my husband was getting like, okay, why not give the baby to other people so that they can, you know? And I'm like, I don't understand. Is it their baby? It's my baby. So if I want to carry her and even put her back through my vagina into my tummy, it's my baby. Like, she's all mine.
Mine.
Do you understand? And I expect, so I know that it's not going to be easy for everybody to understand, you know, what's going on with you and, you know, help you go through that process. And it is okay. But then you also need to take care of yourself. You get whatever it is that you can do to make yourself happy or make yourself.
Aside from getting help and people around to help, what other things did you do? So you got help from people.
Yeah.
What other things did you do to survive that period, to come out of it?
So here's something that happened. Yeah, I remember during LC, I always wanted to, I've always wanted to have a fashion store. So I hired a professional tailor. So I got a sewing machine, and then she'll come to help me sew. She started teaching me how to sew. And interestingly, so she started helping. I remember now. Yeah, so she started helping me how to sew, and you know, so I started small. So I then one of those times that I would go into town, I would get some fabrics, and then I would start to sew like little tops for you know, Elsie, even though she never wore them because I was just experimenting with them. But I was trying so hard to, you know, do everything to take my mind away from, you know, because it's a very thin line. Because everything that was happening, I just wanted to engage myself mentally.
Excitement there, something to get you
so
busy.
I found something that I loved and I was doing it. Do you understand? And then after a while, I was reading up on a few courses online, and there was a particular course that, you know, spoke to me. And I started reading. Yes, so I started reading. I was very, you know, because you have all the time, you know, you're serious, you don't have anything to do. So I was very serious. I would follow my classes. I would, you know, put down notes. I'll take exams. It was an interesting process for me because I was, you know, engaging myself in a lot of activities that I loved. So with my second, what happened was 4 months after I had her, I lost my dad. Yes, so it was a very dark period for me. And you know what? I didn't care about her.
Whoa.
Yes. So yeah, I didn't care about her. Not like I didn't care about her. I knew she was there, but at the time, she wasn't important.
Because of what had happened.
Because of what had happened. You know, I was still dealing with, you know, my mom's, you know, demise, and then you know,
mom
my
left
dad
before dad.
Yes, mom left before dad, and then, you know, the thing with dad happened, and I'm like, okay. So I stopped breastfeeding her. Yes.
Whoa.
I stopped breastfeeding her. I was mentally, emotionally, physically stressed to the point where I wasn't even lactating anymore. At some point I had to pray about it because I was like, dear Lord, I need you to help this child understand what I'm going through and find a way to, you know, cope with. And then, you know, I started giving, they said, no, don't give her breast milk. I gave her baby milk formula. She took it. She was
a big girl now.
Yeah, oh no, she's gallant. She's like,
you see, there are so many things we've saved into our memory that there's this thing you shouldn't do. This is how you should take care of, especially in Africa. there's just this picture everybody wants you to put out there, like,
Yeah.
I have everything under control. And I think it doesn't help anybody.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And
We should be ourselves. If you're going through something, say, I am going through something.
yes, a lot of us really do not like to share. And I think this session that we're having would help a lot of, mothers and a lot of intending mothers as well, so that you know how to deal with, the process of childbirth and after childbirth.
Did you ever explore medical options?
Okay, so at the point of labor, I wanted to do a CS because the doctor said I was like perfectly fine, so there was no need for me to go through CS. But I wanted CS because I'm like, I really don't want to go through that stress of pushing and all that. But they talked me through it, and I decided, okay, you know what? If it's here, I may as well. Do you understand? And I know that there's a phase that women who've gone through CS also go through, which is even 2 times worse.
Really?
Yes. Because, okay, so for natural, did you have natural birth?
Yes.
So for CS, natural birth, it's during the process, during the childbirth that you feel the pain. And then maybe like a day or 2 after.
It's getting better.
Yeah, and then but it heals faster. Yeah, that also depends on your body type. But for women who go through CS, you're taking care of your baby while you're experiencing so much pain.
I get it.
So it's a wound that is healing, and it doesn't take 2, 3, 4 days to heal. It takes a while.
Whoa.
It takes a while. So the mother is dealing with so much, and still has to cater to the baby.
But I feel even our medical practitioners, like, I just wish there's something that could be done about them. I feel there's a lot to be done. So my first issue with depression, though it was a bit short, maybe it wasn't baby blues, because baby blues should naturally pack its load and go in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But this one lasted. I hated to think about my baby's birth. Because yes, I didn't want to remember it. Yes, because mine was a case where doctors were asking my husband for bribe. They weren't really attending to me. It was a public hospital. In fact, a public hospital, general hospital. So one doctor was outside telling my husband that I wasn't doing well inside, and if he didn't give him something,
he wasn't going to attend to you.
That the birth wasn't going to go on naturally.
Wow.
Yeah, that I was going to be wheeled to the theater and everything. And at the very critical point, another doctor told me, shut up, like 15 times. So I'm asking, a new mom, I was asking, what should I do? Shut up. And I had read some things. Okay, I think this is what I'm feeling. I said, shut up. And they were hitting another woman beside me. So I said, there was fear. So at some point I didn't know what else to say, because she was going to tell me to shut up. So when I even gave birth, I was just there like, what's all this?
Oh, like, so I see where you're coming from. Like the medical practitioners or the doctor, they even help the process for your child.
For my second one, you get that they're asking you, how are you? But they're not really listening. And so I'm saying, I'm not feeling too well. I don't feel happy. And they're saying, they just discard whatever you say as it's part of pregnancy. I'm like, no, it's not part of pregnancy. So I'm like, okay, for a woman who is depressed, because when I read about it, they say you could seek medical help, and I'm like, in this Nigeria.
So that's why if you notice when I said earlier on when I talked about seeking help, I said seek professional help. I didn't say medical help, because the truth is everyone has a role to play when it comes to these things.
Yes.
So yeah, there's a role of the doctor in making sure that your physical well-being is well taken care of. There's also the role of a mental health expert.
Exactly.
In that regard, I mean, in the context of what we're talking
Which we
about.
don't like to explore in Nigeria.
Yes, and then there are a lot of people that cannot afford them. But then again, that's why you have the internet.
True. Yes.
That information is available for you on there. A lot of us do not like to read.
Do
you understand? There are lots of myths around childbirth, after childbirth, and I remember the times that I got into a few arguments with my mother-in-law, because she believes that certain things should be done this way, and I'm like, so the internet practically helped me a lot during and after my childbirth. Every piece of information I wanted to go online to check to find out what it was. Child is going through colic. Oh, that period depresses you.
Because there's nothing you can do to pacify the baby.
They'll say buy ogiri oil, buy
This one.
Kanchifa oil.
Oh God.
Do this,
But
do
the
that.
baby
Give them
keeps
warm
crying.
water. Baby refuse. You should you.
Motherhood is
I remember
work.
that period. I would just sit on the like, okay, just kill me. Because I don't know what you want me to do. How do I help you?
But
Like,
you know, it's good you're laughing about it now.
yes. Is there any way you can communicate to God or somebody to tell me how I can help? Because I don't know how to help you. Yeah, but then I'll go on the internet and then I would, research and then, okay, so it's normal. Mothers will tell you, your mothers will tell you, it's gas. Is the navel that the umbilical cord that they cut off that is, all of those things. And then you find out it's colic. It's natural. So, and there are ways to deal with it. So what's most important here is, if you cannot afford professional help, go online, read, research, because at the end of the day,
It's the
it
cheapest.
is you that you are taking care
Care
of,
of.
and that is very, very important.
Thank you so much for your time. And I know someone feels better knowing that we are here to identify with you. You
Yeah.
are not alone going through that.
No.
And that you're going through it doesn't make you less of a woman. You are virtuous, you're good, you're perfect. And please learn to share. Talk.
Yeah. And that's why you have this platform as well, so you can go if you have comments or questions, or you've been wanting to share with someone. We are not professionals, we're not
Exactly.
experts, but hearing you share with us would go a long way. Maybe it would even help you feel better. And if there's any way that we can help, you can let us know. We have contact with professionals and experts that we can refer you to, to help deal with whatever it is that you're dealing with.
Thank you so much for saying that. In addition to that, please subscribe and click the notification button. Thank you for spending time with us today. I look forward to another time with you. Bye.